Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing great today. It is a warm and humid day here in the Buckeye State, and today I wanted to talk about 3 perennial wildflowers that everybody should have in their garden. They are black-eyed Susans, Coreopsis, and Echinacea. These 3 wildflowers are absolutely wonderful plants. They're all really hardy. They're all native plants. These are cultivated varieties of natives, but the parent species are native to the US, if you are from the US. And they are tough, they're low maintenance, and they're all easy to grow. So because of that, I decided to kind of lump them in to one video instead of doing them all separately, because they all have basically, the same care requirements, and they're all very compatible, as you can see. So I kind of just thought it would be a better idea to just lump them all in one video. So I'm going to talk about how you can care for them and obviously show you these beautiful plants in my garden. So first of all of these plants, the black-eyed Susans, Coreopsis, and Echinacea, they all really want full sun. They really appreciate having lots and lots of sun all day long, if you can give them that. These all have basically full sun, and as you can see, they're all very happy. And so you really do want to put them ideally in the sunniest spot you have. If you have a little bit of part shade, they will probably be fine, but they might not bloom as well, and they might be a little more susceptible to diseases, which I will talk about later on in this video. So that's light. They really do want light, lots and lots of sun. As for what soil they like, there's nothing special. They really do, but they really need good drainage, preferably a little bit on the richer side, but they can tolerate less than ideal soil. Like I said, they're very tough, but if you can give them some organic matter when you're planting them, that would be ideal for all of these. But they do really need good drainage. They all really prefer to have good drainage. So make sure that the soil is draining well. But what is interesting about all of these plants is they can tolerate clay soils. It should be well draining clay, but they can tolerate clay soils. So that is really great with these guys. And because here in Ohio, we have horrible clay soil. It is terrible, and it's a pain to plant anything. So it is nice to know that they can at least tolerate it. But again, if you can give them a little bit better soil, that would be better. So that's the soil they like. As for watering, what's really great about all of these plants is that once they are established, they rarely need to be watered. They typically, unless you're going through an unusually dry season, they typically don't require any supplemental watering. If you haven't had rain for a little while and it's getting really hot and it doesn't look like you're getting much rain, maybe giving them a good drink with the hose wouldn't be a bad idea, or a soaker hose or something like that would not be a bad idea. Ideally, do that in the morning so that they can use it throughout the day and their foliage can dry before night. Otherwise, you might get some diseases, which again I will mention later in this video. But generally, these are all very drought tolerant, and if you have regular rain, they really should not require any supplemental watering. After their first year, they should probably be watered once a week in the absence of rain. But after that, they can handle some drought, which is great. Again, if it's really dry and you've been going a really long time and or it's really, really hot, a little bit of water might not hurt. So that's water. As for feeding them, again, these are hardy prairie plants. They don't really need any fertilizer, especially if you already amended the soil when planting them. They honestly do not need any feeding. I did not fertilize any of these plants this spring. They really do not require any feeding. If your soil is really, really low in nutrients, it might not be a bad idea to give them maybe like 1 dose of fertilizer, but really they shouldn't require much more than that. If you have decent soil, they really should not require any fertilizer, because again, like I keep saying, they're from the prairies where no one's out there feeding them on the prairies. Granted, these are cultivated varieties, but again, the parents come from the prairies, so they obviously inherit some of those genetics. So yeah, they really don't need any supplemental fertilizer, and yeah, they're really just easy. You don't really need to fuss about them. You really don't need to fuss with them. These are probably some of the most low maintenance perennials I have in my garden. And again, they're just amazing. So then I want to talk a little bit about, I alluded to it earlier, about some diseases you might run across, and maybe some insects as well. So these ones, sometimes they can get fungal diseases. With the black-eyed Susans, they can get something called, I think it's called Septoria leaf spot, where their leaves can get like these really weird, they just get like weird spots on them, and it doesn't look all that attractive. It doesn't generally kill it, but in the fall, you do want to make sure that you remove it. If it's only minor, especially if it gets really bad and it's late in the season, I would say you can just cut them down in the fall. But again, if it's really not that bad and there's only a few leaves, you can just clip those off and they should be fine. As for the Coreopsis, I sometimes, actually frequently, have an issue with powdery mildew, and you'll know you'll have it when it's just this weird powdery, like this white, it doesn't have it right now, but that generally happens later in the season, especially if we had kind of a wetter season. Then you might see like little white splotches on them, or like little white, they look kind of like dust, kind of, but it's a little fungal disease, and it can look ugly, but again, if it's not that bad, you can clip off the affected leaves. If it's really bad, I would say just cut them down in the fall. To be completely honest, it really doesn't kill them. It can just look kind of unattractive. And same thing with the coneflowers. I think a few years ago, this one and this one, that was another coneflower that I don't have anymore, unfortunately. But sometimes it can get powdery mildew, but as long as you're not overwatering them, there shouldn't be a huge issue. Again, unless you have a really wet season and or you're overwatering, they might get it. But the coneflowers are probably the most disease resistant out of the 3 that I've been talking about. But they can get it, and I think they also can get leaf spot as well, like the brown spots on the leaves. So, but again, they're not really prone to it, so I don't want to worry you too much, but it is possible. So just keep an eye out and deal with it accordingly. Now, insects. Again, they're not super buggy, but one thing I would like to mention, and I talked about this in a previous video I made, more specifically on Gaillardia, is coneflowers in particular, but Coreopsis and black-eyed Susans can allegedly get them, I'm told, is they can get Aster yellow's disease. I was talking about this again in my video on my Gaillardia, and they'll have like these weird, like, you'll know you'll have it when they have like these really weird green growths come out. It looks super bizarre if you look online at pictures of it. And if you have it, unfortunately, there is no cure. So you must dig out the plant and dispose of everything in the garbage or burn it. You really don't want that to spread to other areas of your garden. So if you have it, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do, and you should get rid of it. I personally have never had it, at least not on my coneflowers. I don't know if I had it on my daisies. I wasn't sure if I got it on one of my daisies, but it's gone now. I got rid of it just in case, but I've never had it on any of my coneflowers. So it's not something that I don't know if it's really all that common, but they are some of the more commonly affected species, let's say. So do keep an eye out for that. And again, if you get it, just get rid of it. But hopefully you won't have that issue. So the last part, I just want to talk about attributes for these. So obviously they look really nice together. So I think they all make a wonderful pairing, especially if you're going for like a wildflower meadow. And that's kind of the goal with these perennials, is to create kind of a wildflower look. So if that's what you're looking for, like you want to kind of recreate like a wildflower meadow, they all look beautiful together. They make great companions. Again, they all like essentially the same things, but they look really great if you want to, again, recreate a wildflower meadow. Another thing that's great about them is the bees love them. In fact, let me get a close-up. One of these. Look at that. The bumblebee. Oh, the bees are all over it. So do be careful you don't get stung. But again, the pollinators absolutely love them. So they are great pollinator attractants if you're into that. And yeah, the bees, butterflies, you'll see them both on them. They're just, again, they're all just wonderful plants, and they will not disappoint. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is winter interest with these. What is nice about all of three of these plants is they can actually serve as winter interest. So if you don't have any insects or disease on any of these plants, you can actually leave the foliage and stems up, and they look really pretty in the snow. And I think I might have a picture actually of my black-eyed Susans last winter when we had snow. They actually look really pretty. So yeah, you can leave them up if you want to. It's not strictly necessary, but if you want to leave them up for winter interest, they look absolutely gorgeous in the snow. So that's a little something extra, but again, if they do have insects or disease, I would definitely get rid of the stems. I generally get rid of my coneflower stems, not because I don't think they would look pretty, but I do have actually another insect I forgot to mention. It's not quite as serious as the one that spreads aster yellows, but it can result in missing petals. And you can't really see it on this one, but it's on this one. You see how it has like some missing petals? Like this one? This one's probably a better example, but you see it has like kind of some missing petals. I don't know what that white stuff is, but you should just remove those cones, but you don't have to get rid of the whole plant. But if they have it, you can cut them. You should get rid of the stems at the end of the season. Look at the bee. Oh wait, look at the bee. Looks so pretty. But if they have any insect issues, you can get rid of them. Just get rid of all the stems and foliage so you don't exacerbate the problem for next year. So I think that's it, all I wanted to talk about them. These are all wonderful perennials. They should come back every year. This one is hardy in zones 5 through 9, I believe. So hardy down to -20 Fahrenheit. This is hardy to this, actually no, this and these, I believe, are all hardy to zone 4, so -30 degrees. I am a zone 6, so 6B specifically, but I have seen it get down to as low as -10 here, and I don't know, well, I've had this. Well, I've had these plants, I think it got to -6 a few winters ago, and they survived just fine, and they all came back beautifully. I think this one might be new. I planted this one last year, and that was after that happened. But anyways, I digress. So again, wonderful plants. Consider Coreopsis, Black-Eyed Susans, and Echinacea if you're looking for easy care perennial wildflowers for your garden. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little how-to and showing you these beautiful wildflowers in my garden. And again, I hope you'll give them a try if you haven't already. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you could please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Share it with your friends if you feel like they need some inspiration and some helpful guidance on plants. And I will see you guys in another video very shortly. Thanks for watching.